To understand the significance of Harry Kellar's life, there is one thing that you'll need to forget, and that is everything. Everything you know about movies, television, and radio, virtually all forms of modern entertainment. And while you're at it, forget everything else. Telephones, cars, and air travel. All of these modern conveniences were non-existent in rural America in the mid-19th century. Once you forget all of this, you can understand the impact of Harry Kellar. He was born Heinrich Kellar in Erie's Midtown in July of 1849. He was an explosive kid who loved playing with explosives. He loved to run, and his favorite game was playing chicken with passing trains. He worked part-time at a drugstore where he would mix and light random chemicals together to the amazement of his friends. After he nearly blew up the drugstore, he jumped one of those trains and began a life on the road. He was only 13 years old. He ended up living the life of a street urchin in New York City until a kindly minister offered to take him to his upstate New York home to study for the church. Kellar went, but didn't stay long. The lure of the road was too strong. He answered an ad to join Isaiah Harris Hughes' magic troupe as an apprentice. After only 2 years and at the age of 16, he left Hughes and formed his own act. It was a disaster. He struggled for 4 years, always broke, always on the run from creditors, but never giving up. In the spring of 1869, the worn-out 20-year-old joined the renowned Davenport Brothers and Fay, the world's first successful stage mediums. The Davenports' most famous trick was the box illusion. In this trick, the brothers were tied together, placed inside a box that contains musical instruments. The box was closed, and then, like magic, the instruments came to life in a symphony performance of the Dead. When the box was opened, the brothers were still tied and the instruments innate and silent. Audience gasped. Kellar took notes. He learned all he could from the Davenports, and in 1873, he and William Fay began their own traveling show. Kellar, now 24, was at best a mediocre magician, but he was an entertainer that was unmatched. Kellar and Fay began a 2-year tour through Canada, Mexico, and South America. The tour made the pair wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. One show in Mexico earned them $10,000, or nearly $200,000 in today's money. They decided to take the act to Europe. On their way, their ship sank off the coast of Spain. Everything was lost. The entire act, props, sets, clothing. Also lost was the ship's cargo of gold, silver, and uncut diamonds. Kellar was left with only the clothes on his back and a diamond ring on his finger. He cabled his bank in New York for money, only to learn that the bank had failed and all his wealth, like his famous disappearing coin trick, were gone. Kellar sold the ring and continued to England, and Fay headed home to reunite with the Davenports. In England, Kellar met the magician John Neville Maskelyne. He performed at a theater called Egyptian Hall in Piccadilly Circus. Because Maskelyne only performed in one theater, his props and tricks had a permanence and quality that traveling acts didn't have. This both impressed and challenged Kellar to create and adapt the same quality illusions for the road. He returned to the States and brought with him Maskelyne's know-how, especially his levitation tricks. He adapted them for the road, formed a new troupe called the Royal Illusionists, and returned to the limelight as a single act. Over the next 30 years, through ceaseless travel and great skill, he became the best-known magician in the world. His best-known tricks were the levitation of Princess Karnak, the vanishing lamp, and the nested boxes. Kellar never forgot his hometown and returned to Erie every year. He retired in 1908, a wealthy man, and died in 1922.